These are the moments that I experienced that I think of myself as a 4-year-old little kid, right? And I've talked about this before about Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Staying in the absolute truth. You've had a spiritual awakening. You're self-empowered. You surrender to yourself. You surrendered to the source from which it all comes. You're on fire again. But it takes a while to clear all the goo, burn it all off of everything you've been exposed to from what you remember when you were a 4-year-old child. You made it out the other side. What do you know? Ooh, that's a bad one. I don't know which addiction was worse. The addiction to cars, the addiction to technology, toys, everything on the rack, everything that is matter-based, actually. Okay? Right? Everything is matter-based. And so it's you know, the biggest qualifier that I've ever shared, because of what I know, what I've learned through experience as a teacher in your mirror, is that I don't have an axe to grind with nothing, okay? Which simply means I'm not at war with nobody. Any other unit of consciousness that represents energy as a communicator. I try and keep it simple, okay? For me, because I'm equal unto all, you know what equilibrium state is, right? Zero. Which means I'm not seeking to hold anything captive. You're free to go. Just like let the bird out of the cage. How am I going to know what a bird can do if I'm not allowing myself to experience a bird in free flight? You're born free, baby. That's what love does. So because of what's happened here, because of all the trauma that's been experienced here, held in cellular memories from the time that you first began becoming aware of what you are in energy. So I realized since I was 4 years of age, I had to keep my mouth shut most of the time. For the very simple reason, because I'm reading the resistance that you have in your cellular memories that represents who you are on your entire record. That's everybody that's here. Okay? So one of the things that I began realizing was monitoring myself down here. How I'm responding to stimulus, input. Hey, now I know you. What do you know? What are you experiencing? Share me with your experiences. Right? So now we're learning through all the others. But I'm equal unto all the others, which means I'm giving love to all the others. Because I'm in love with the all creation because I know what it began with. The same thing that you began with. Everyone else. You know, love didn't come later. So it's like, please, I'm a 4-year-old little kid. I know better. My dad would say, where did you learn all this? Please. The programming goes so deep, okay, with fear-based trauma. And that includes any fear that you've experienced as a result of what happened to your own children or anybody on any cellular level. You detect any resistance as a result of not being able to experience the purest of love, which is the purest of light. In living spirit, something happened. That's no resistance. Whoa, no resistance. Yeah, there's no resistance to experience the purest of fire that is in that light. That's the purest of hearts. And it's no effort. That's what boggled my mind as a little child. So you immediately acknowledge you're on a battlefield. Because it's a resistance game, but it's not a game. Because you realize from whence it came. Right? And so for me, it's particularly when you start out, the first thing that you acknowledge is an authority figure. As authority is defined in their language, not our language. Our language is pure as it gets, which means it's silent running. Okay? So now we're hearing people talk, and we're hearing and watching people behave. Okay? And that gets magnetically recorded. Right? So if you have a mother and a father, okay, that are running programs, then you're going to begin to magnetically record their programs, okay, that are held captive to something that's running at a slower torque speed. Now you're running at a slower torque speed. That's the programming. All the programmings that are running. Because we're connected in the planetary field of consciousness of all the programs that are running by virtue of the energy that's running it. Okay? So you can imagine what this like is at 4 years of age. I don't live in any of your worlds. I'm a creator being, a real one. Okay? I know the worlds that I live in, which are the ones that I create. Which means I'm not held captive to what you experience. Because you're not me. And that's why, as a child, I would say everybody's on their own journey. It's like a different aspect of the same all creation. And that's the beauty of the diversification of it. Because even when I met other types of authority figures, because they have authority, like my grandmother, or Patty Broussard, who announced herself, I'm the commander of the Earth Defense Force. Welcome to meet you, Commander. Okay. I went to a military school when I was 5 years of age. I know what a hierarchy is. I don't operate on a hierarchy. Okay? I am what love is that goes on forever. That's as pure as it gets. That's the highest authority. But I don't perceive it as highest authority. That's like a mother and a father that's taking care of all their children, which is the all creation. As they naturally would. Love is a healer. Love is the most powerful energy. It's the most powerful magic. You're free. Otherwise, you're holding yourself captive to another unit of energy. Why? Because you're in fear because of the command authority that they have. I dare not do anything that might upset you because you might do something to me. Because of the power and control that you have over the authority that you've been given. So now we get back to the dilemma of control. You're free. I'm not seeking to try and control what it is that you are. Otherwise, I'm not free of you. Because otherwise, I'm holding you in memory, and that becomes a part of my memory. Now you're into memory and no memory. Now we're into batteries and no batteries required. Because I realized ever since I was a little kid, I've met a gazillion. I mean, add up all the bugs. All the crystals of sand on all the beaches that I've introduced my energy to. Whoa, little crystal, hey, how you doing? Add up all the crystals on all the beaches, just on one planet. Multiply that by all the water worlds. Wow. That's a big number, isn't it? So imagine how many beings that you could meet. Throughout all of it. You think you could remember all those? That's why they had an old saying. Even if I got to live it one moment at a time, I'm living it one moment at a time. Even if it's one day at a time, 1 week at a time, right? That's deprogramming. That's what that program does. It's a deprogrammer. Man, get all that goo off. Yeah, burn it off. See? Because it all begins with you and your mind, soul's energy. Okay? To justify, thus captify, what is considered to be a hierarchy that has control over you. I remember when Patty Broussard, for example, said, oh, I can get rid of a soul. That hurt. Would you want anybody to have that power? Okay. Now we get into abuse of power. Right? That's why when I realized that Patty Broussard, as announced as the commander of the Earth Defense Forces, and she said, God kept reminding me, it hit me over the head, love is the law. But I can take out one of their home worlds without hate in my heart. Now we're back to the beginning of the first trauma. The first fracture. Ooh, went dark. Now it has no memory of what love is. Love is the absence of control. Love is the absence of authority. Love is a great equalizer. Equal unto all. That's right. It's much like Aaron would say to me, I love you, Aaron. But he has another buddy that he was hanging out with for several years, and Aaron would mention to me about how others are always wanting to impose their will on you. Right? And I said, I know, Aaron, I know how that works. That's why I don't impose my will on you. I figure my energy is available to me. If there's anything that I can do for you, I'll be more than happy to do it out of my love for you, because that's how it naturally occurs. So love is free energy. Because there isn't any time. The universe has a way of being able to manage itself in a very natural way, which means you implicitly trust the way in which it naturally unfolds and takes care of itself. See? So that's love is the absence of fear, which is the absence of fear of authority. Because you already realize you're the highest law. End of story. End of history. We're at the end of history. The rebirth of goddess energy, which is a mother that loves all of us. Okay? Equally. As my own mother used to say, I love all my children equally. I don't give one that I won't give to another in love. That means everything. If you have love in your heart and it's as pure as it gets, you're naturally giving love to all creation. I know that's how it works, because that's how it works within me. The experience is the teacher, so I'm experiencing what I experience. Now I know what I am and why I use my energy the way I use my energy. That's what Alan Watts was so beautiful in the way he unfolded that. Go out into a forest all by yourself. Go out onto a beach all by yourself. Go in and do the deep inner work with your soul. Right? And learn more about who we are, who I am. That's why I ran to nature as soon as I was a little kid. I'm going to be with her. So I realized from the very beginning, as soon as I was 4 years old, we got to get it up, Mama. We got to get you up, girl. Yeah. We got to get you up. And so that's why everything that I did was to raise the higher octave on the planet. So naturally, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the girls to raise the energy on the higher octave of the girls, because the girls are the birth givers. So girls were severely traumatized as a result of what the other side does. That is not natural. The male, traditionally, is a warrior to protect his own seed. Right? And what do you think provides the greatest protection? Love does. So now if you want to start measuring species that can reproduce themselves successfully, okay, that represents an evolution of a universe that is conscious and aware of itself, then the highest accelerator is not going to be artificial intelligence. It's going to be spirit. That is in that light, that is running pure light. The purest of light, which is the purest of fire, which means it's on fire to give you love. To heal everything that's here that ever suffered any trauma. Ever. That's what a monopole does. Pulls it all in. So we all remember who the one is. When we all experience a love vibration, and we have no resistance to experience the purity in our own heart of what that love feels like, you're not holding anything captive. You're not trying to control anything. It becomes totally unnecessary. Okay? That's why I don't wear a badge or a rank. I don't use a title that represents any form of authority. I simply express myself that I am what love is. That's all you need to know. End of story. Keep it simple. Remember the KISS principle? Keep it simple. Simple is as simple does. Love is what love does. So I say that because that's a resistance. I was experiencing the resistance in others that I've had communications with in the spiritual community across the clans and the tribes. Okay? Most of the time, I don't say nothing because of how sensitive I am to the resistance that you experience that I experience in me. Okay? So I let the resistance go. Okay? Which means now I'm telling the truth.